Hey, yo, what's going on, boys? You got your boy JB here coming with something very special. Today, we are going to be starting a new adventure. Now, if those of you who haven't heard of the GPC, the Grand Pokemon Conference, they have invited me to a summer, kind of summer league, kind of an off-season thing where they're trying to select some new coaches, and they have a tournament style with 32 other great coaches. And we all had a big draft. 32 coaches drafting from one pool. It got a little crazy. There were a lot of snipes, but I think we got a team that can really put in the work. And we drafted 11th, I believe. And it's going to be a longer video, so instead of making a whole new screen with the order we picked them in, I'll just bounce around between the order we picked them in. So, yeah. So if you don't know the GPC, it was it's owned by Bob, call me 911. His Twitter and YouTube will be in the links in the description below. I'm not sure if I'll split this up into 3 parts or just have one big video. And my friend Wmar, or Ray as I call him, he was actually the champion of the GPC last season. I was his I was his AC essentially. I helped him team build. We prepped, strategized, but I am now trying to get into that league myself, and we have some very good battlers to go up against in this tournament. So we were split into, I believe, 8 pools of 4. 8 pools of 4, that sounds right. And our pool, not gonna lie, it's a tough one. We have, one sec. Alright, sorry about that one. So if if there might be a sudden pause in the video, it's just because of background noise, and I'll deal with that later. But like I was saying, we have very good coaches in our pool. We have Wmar, who is a returning coach from the GPC. He's in the tournament. We have Paul Bartlett, or I'll be just Paul. We'll just call him Paul, or Fallop on Showdown. So he's in there, and he's a great battler as well. Very skilled, from what I can tell. I've only heard good things about him. And we have the Verd, who's also in our thing, and recently joined the NBA. So he is an amazing battler. I know I've only heard good things from Rob and Bob, from those two, about his skills. He's apparently an NBA analyst, and he's an extremely good battler. But the team we drafted was, as you can see in front of you, Manaphy, Arcanine, Tangrowth, Mandibuzz, Mienshao, and Tyrantrum. Now, I think we got a pretty good team considering it was a 32-man pool. We got 2 sweepers, physical and special, and Tyrantrum and Manaphy. I'm not going to do a huge draft recap because then I'll have to split this into 4 parts, but we also got 2 great defensive walls in Arcanine and Tangrowth, and a great mixed wall in Mandibuzz, and we got a potential wall breaker and very fast mon in Mienshao. I think I drafted a really nice balanced team that kind of fits my style of having switch-ins to things, and I definitely needed to get rid of rocks because I have Arcanine, and Mandibuzz was a great option to have for that. So, yeah, so I'm really excited to use these guys. We have some funky sets, we have some great matches, and I hopefully can give you the best of my abilities in showing you how the matches went down. But let's jump into our first match versus Wmar and the returning GPC coach, and I will see you all at the battle. Hey, what's up, boys? You got JB back here, and as you can see, we have our team out in front of us. The team you actually saw, the Salicberry Manaphy set with the weird EVs, was for this team. Right in front of us. That was the team I was bringing against Wmar. As you can see, we brought these 6 mons. His team is Protean, XY Greninja, Mega Alakazam, Swampert, Togetic, Blaziken, and Abomasnow. A very threatening team, a lot of threatening mons. We brought, this game I believe was a Salicberry, Tailglow, Manaphy was substitute. We brought a Spadef Mandibuzz for a Mega Alakazam. We brought Scarf Mienshao. We brought a Tangrowth to be, I think it was AV with defense investment to take on the likes of Swampert and Greninja if I need to switch it in on something that's not an Ice Beam. We also brought Arcanine for our Blaziken switch in, and we brought a I think it was Dragon Dance, Tyrantrum, just pretty standard, trying to sweep. The biggest thing was we need to get Swampert low before we could try and sweep, but if we could do that, we literally could 6-0 him with the Tyrantrum if Megazam was also weakened. But I have a pretty good switch into Megazam with Mandibuzz. So here is the matchup. I predict him to lead off with the Swampert. I'm going to go on slow to go through my thought process. and I lead off with my Tangrowth because I cannot have rocks going up on my side of the field. Arcanine is too necessary for that Blaziken, but he leads with Black Ninja, the Greninja, and I'm going to end up staying in on this thing because I'm AV. I know I can take an Ice Beam, get Regenerator, and switch out, so I'm just going to fire off a nice and easy knockoff, trying to get rid of any potential item it may have, and it's actually sashed, so I was just trying to get rid of a Life Orb there, but he then goes for an Ice Beam, which I can take pretty well. I'm also a physically offensive Tangrowth, but he gets the freeze on me, which is very unfortunate, and Tangrowth is going to have to be switched out here, as I'm going to pull a switch immediately into my Manaphy, because I know I can take an Ice Beam if he goes for it again, which he does, and we take that relatively well, 18%. Now, here, I don't want to play around with this threat. He goes for a taunt, expecting me to sub or tail glow. I'm not going to play around with this threat. I'm just going to fire off a Scald, try and get any damage on this thing I can, which I get a pretty respectable amount off with 53%. Here, he goes for an extra sensory. Not sure why. I'm guessing he didn't have Dark Pulse. Well, I guess it doesn't matter with Protean. So I'm just going to fire off Scald. Down goes one of the biggest threats to my team that I literally have no switch-ins for. So him sacking that thing, fine with me. I was much more scared of a Life Orb 4-attack variant. Here he brings in Kickers, the Mega Blaziken, as I'm just going to immediately pull switch out into my Arcanine, as he goes for, I believe, the Stone Edge, predicting that, which was a good play. However, he does... Oh, no, he just goes for a Thunder Punch, attacking straight forward. No problem there, as Arcanine is able to eat that up. Now, I have the Bulldoze on this set, but I need to get rid of my Tangrowth's freeze, so I'm going to make a double into my Tangrowth, expecting his Swampert to want to come out, as I can get health back, and I can waste a few freeze turns, as he actually clicks Stone Edge. I could have Bulldozed and two-shot him, but I get Regenerator on Tangrowth. It wouldn't have done anything. I have Defense Investment, and it's a Blaziken, as I just make a switch back into my Arcanine, get a second Intimidate off, as he clicks Flare Blitz, which at this point literally does nothing, so... I could fire off a Bulldoze this time, which is, I believe, what I elect to do because I'm not packing the Willow this week. So I'm pretty sure I just decide to fire off a Bulldoze, predicting the Swampert to come in. But he switches into his... Actually, no, I make another double back into Tangrowth, expecting him to switch out that time, but he goes into his Togetic, not his Swampert. So I'm just going to have to get more Regenerate off on Tangrowth, make another switch out, and go into my Mandibuzz, which I know can take this thing on, as he goes for a HP, I'm assuming Fire, or Flying, maybe? No, it's not Flying, he gets Air Slash. Fire, then I'm assuming, which I don't... Ice, probably for Tyrantrum? I don't know. I don't know what that HP was, but here I'm going to apply Taunt, can't have this thing roosting up on me, but he's just going to go for a Dazzling Gleam, but I am a max Spidef Mandibuzz, I eat that up, no problem. I've really enjoyed using Mandibuzz throughout the tournament. As you can see, we're going to get a few matches in today. And I'm just going to knock off trying to get rid of an Eviolite when he reveals to be a Scope Lens variant. So he's trying to crit me, I guess, as he goes for an Ancient Power. I'm going to take that relatively well. I think he's going for the boost at this point, which is not good if he gets it. I'm going to roost up here. No reason to make any other play, as he goes for another Ancient Power. And at this point, I'm just assuming he's trying to get the boost. So I'm going to pull kind of a risky switch into my Tyrantrum because I'll know I'll outspeed this thing and be able to knock it out with a Head Smash and do great damage to the Swampert if that wants to come in. So that's my plan here. I'm going to make the switch into Tangrowth, and he is going to go for the Dazzling Gleam. And because he is an offensive variant of Togetic, my Tyrantrum is going to go straight down, and Tyrantrum dies. So not my best play, probably not at all, but I have no reason not to just go out into my Manaphy here. Now, this was a misplay on my part. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and sub to get into Salac Berry range, but his Dazzling Gleam could not kill me from this range, even from offensive Togetic. So if I had Tail Glowed, my Salac would have popped on its own, and if his Blaziken was not potentially packing priority, I could have done some real damage to his team here. But sadly, I do go for the substitute. This was a misplay on my part. My Salac Berry pops. He breaks my sub with a Dazzling Gleam. He wouldn't have killed me, but he would have definitely broken my sub as an offensive variant. And I'm just going to try and fire off an Ice Beam. I thought maybe he's not a Violite, maybe I can kill him, but I only do 60%. Seems like he still has some bulk on this thing, as he's just going to fire off Dazzling Gleam, and Manaphy goes down as well. So we're down 5-4, kind of late in the game, and I'm just going to go out into my Mienshao and I believe click Poison Jab. It's relatively safe. He doesn't 100% have a switch into this monster if I choose to go for High Jump Kick, as he is just going to sack the Togetic right here. No problem. As now I'm assuming he wants to make a play, offensive play, as he does. He goes out into his Mega Alakazam. I am Scarfed, but I do not OHKO this thing with Poison Jab, so I'm forced to switch out into my Mandibuzz, my counter for this thing. He continues to just kind of attack what's in front of him, trying to get me to overpredict, and goes for a Psychic, but I obviously am immune to that, so no worries there. I'm assuming he does have Dazzling Gleam. Knockoff can 2-hit KO this thing, so he can't 2-hit KO me with the Dazzling Gleam from this range I'm at, so he's going to go for the Dazzling Gleam, only do about 46%, not even close to a 2-hit KO with leftover. So I'm just going to fire off a knockoff here, 58%. Now, I predict him to kind of want to switch into the Blaziken here, but I decide it's just best to make the safest play, as he does try and I assume catch me on an over prediction and go for a Dazzling Gleam again, which I don't over predict. I just go for another knockoff, because getting rid of any item the last three had could have been very nice for me as well, and I would have still had my mana buzz at around 60%. So no real reason not to fire off a knockoff there and get rid of an item. But we get rid of probably his last big thing that could sweep me, because I still have the Arcanine in the back for this monster and for the Abomasnow and Tangrowth for the Swampert. So I'm going to make the switch into my obvious play of Arcanine as he goes for the Stone Edge. Yes, he does Stone Edge, but as you can see, it doesn't do that much. I'm a physically defensive Arcanine. He's not doing that much damage to me, so I'm easily able to here. I believe I'm just going to click Bulldoze. As he misses a high jump kick, that would not have killed me from that range, and with Bulldoze into Extreme Speed, I would have been able to knock him out, no problem, as you can see. Well, not Bulldoze into Extreme Speed. If he didn't have priority, I could have Bulldozed twice, and I would have outsped him after the first high jump kick, because as you can see, he's not Scarfed. But I do knock him down to a range where E-Speed can take him out, so I'm just going to go for it. Sorry about that, hacks. I'm not sure if it mattered, because I'm pretty sure my Arcanine could have stalled him out, and either and or his Blaziken was then in a range where my Mienshao literally could just come in and click high jump kick and kill something, and I had enough sacks where I could sack something, bring Mienshao back in on something it's faster than, and get a kill. But here he makes a play into his Abomasnow. It goes for an Earthquake, as I am a physically defensive Arcanine. I take nothing from that. Go for a Flare Blitz, knock that thing out. Now here in this league, differential does matter, because you battle the other people in your section, and the two people with the highest record in differential make it out. So here I'm going to try and attempt to save some differential here. Go out into my Tangrowth on a predicted Scald and try and get my Tangrowth thought out, as that's exactly what happens. Unfortunately, though, I'm not going to be able to preserve any differential, because he unthaws me, but he gets the burn, and you'll see here how that's going to matter, because I'm just going to fire off a Giga Drain, but he reveals to be a Rindo Berry Mirror Coating Swampert. So I don't do that much damage. He's going to fire off a Mirror Coat, and with the combination of Hail, Mirror Coat, and Burn, I go exactly to 0. So it's unfortunate, but it happens. At this point, I don't want to play with any risk of losing this game, because if I miss a Mienshao high jump kick, I could potentially lose this game. So I'm just going to make my best play. I'm going to accept my fate as a 2-0. I'm going to double U-turn into my Arcanine, sacking that here. And I probably could have gone into Mana Buzz and maybe beat this thing 1v1, but I'm just going to play safe, go into my Arcanine, not risk anything else. I'm just going to get Mienshao back in immediately, and I'm going to click knockoff, and I'm going to win Game 1 of the GPC World Championships, which, very good game versus Wmar. I think he played well. He tried to catch me on a few mini over predictions, I think, but overall, I think it was a very good battle, and I think I played it to a point where... Oh, I can just double U-turn because of Hail, but I think I played it to a point where I was going to win that battle with the Mienshao, because at the point he sacked his Megazam and his Togetic, I could literally 2-hit KO every mon on his team with high jump kick, and I OHKO 2 of them and outspeed 2 of them, so I had a way... Mienshao, after those 2 went down, would put in a lot of work. That was my plan from the beginning, and as you can see, Mienshao still at full health, so we preserved it well and did our job. Tyrantrum Sack, not a great play. Substituting on Manaphy, not a great play, but it happens. You live and learn, and I will see you all in battle number 2 later. Hey, yo, what's up, boys? We here with battle number 2, as I'm rocking Johnny's skin for some reason. I'm pretty sure I'm usually Cynthia, but maybe I didn't notice that in the first battle. Whatever. So, as you can see, Paul has a very threatening team. He has the Quillfish, the Virizion, the Mega Pidgeot, the Reuniclus, the T-Tar, the Excadrill. I don't know how he got such a powerful team. I think Reuniclus, T-Tar, and Drill should all be easily round, maybe even 1 picks, but he got them in 3 rounds in a 32-man league, and he got Mega Pidgeot, which is insane. He also got Virizion and Quillfish as his lower tier mons, so I'm assuming he was more towards the back to get Drill and T-Tar, but he did a great job drafting, is what I'm trying to say. Probably better than I. But in this match, we still have to do our best to shut him down. I am bringing a Spidef Mana Buzz again to counter that Pidgeot. I am bringing an Tenga offensive Adamant Tangrowth to deal with the Swords Dance Excadrill in the sand with X-Scissor. I can take the X-Scissor and OHKO it back. I'm assuming he was going to bring the Life Orb Adamant set. I'm also packing a Manaphy that is... I believe this one is just... Is this one Tailglow? I think this one's just Tailglow 3 attacks. I know this one is also Salicberry. Because if I could get the Salicberry up, as you can see, if I could get rid of his Excadrill, I could potentially sweep with the combination of Scald and Psychic really, really well. So I was running the same set with different attacks, Substitute Tailglow, Psychic, and Scald. Arcanine is a banded Arcanine here to deal with the likes of Tyranitar, Drill. It can OHKO both of them with close combat. It can two-shot everything on his team. Wild Charge almost OHKOs Quillfish, Flare Blitz OHKOs Pidgeot and Virizion. Flare Blitz can 2-hit KO defensive Reuniclus, and Close Combat can OHKO both of those two mons on the left that deal with Sand. We're bringing the same Scarf Mienshao, but this time we're running a little different. We have a lot of bulk investment and just enough speed to outspeed a Mega Pidgeot. Big thing was, like, there's just a few things above Mienshao's speed tier that are very critical for me outspeeding, including Mega Pidgeot and Virizion, so I ran like 32 speed, 224 HP Adamant, but I still think it was the best bring. And this week we brought a wall-breaking Adamant Shuka Tyrantrum with Crunch to deal with Reuniclus again, do a lot of damage to that thing. It has the Earthquake and the Aerial Ace and the Head Smash, I believe. So, no, it didn't have Head Stone Edge because I couldn't risk the recoil. I needed Strong Jaw Crunch for Reuniclus, but that's the team we're bringing. We'll see what he brought. I'm really excited for this match. Paul's a great guy, and this is match number 2. Alright, he's going to lead off with Dekogel. I just want to lead off with my Scarfer, potentially scout a few of his sets, but I'm assuming this is just I see Intimidate, I'm assuming it's a Spikes, Lead, Intimidate, defensive set, so I'm just going to pull a U-turn out into my Tyrantrum here, as I feel like Tyrantrum just didn't have a great matchup this week. It just didn't have a great matchup, so I'm just like, alright, let's just try and bust a hole in this team with something I potentially outspeed. But he reveals that I don't know if he has any speed. I feel like he has a little bit, but I'm not 100% sure. As he outspeeds me, goes for Haze, predicting a Dragon Dance. As I'm not going to go for a Dragon Dance, I'm just going to fire off an EQ here. Don't know why he ran Haze over T-Wave if he was scared of my Tyrantrum setting up on this thing, but I guess he just didn't want to deal with the +1 attack is probably what happened. He goes for a Scald, no burn, as I'm able to get rid of the only switch-in that stops my Arcanine from spamming Close Combat and Flare Blitz, which is amazing for me. And that thing goes down. He only gets 1 layer of Spikes up. Mana Buzz does pack the Defog this week to get rid of hazards on my side of the field. He goes into his Virizion. I'm going to take a guess here and say this is a special Virizion based on the concept layout of his team with the drill. And so I'm going to go into my Spadef Mandibuzz here as he reveals to be the Focus Blast, so I was correct there, and Life Orb, so he does a good amount to me. I'm not a max Spadef Mandibuzz. I'm actually kind of more of a mixed wall this game, but I am packing the Brave Bird for this thing. But getting rid of the Spike is kind of more important to me because it's just a little bit annoying at the moment. So I'm just gonna no, I don't get rid of the Spike. I'm gonna double into my Mienshao because Neh is too good of a switch in for him to pass up here. As I could click High Jump Kick, but the Reuniclus is probably gonna come in. So I'm just gonna click U-turn. It hits the T-Tar hard if he decides to stay in. It hits the Virizion hard if he goes out into that. But he goes out into the Virizion, which was kind of unexpected on my part. I thought because I 2-hit KO this thing relatively easy with High Jump Kick. So interesting. I probably could have taken it out from that range with High Jump Kick if I'm just looking at the calcs now. But I'm going to go make back into my Mandibuzz. Maybe catch him on an over prediction here, get him to stay in. I'm just going to fire off a Roost, I believe, as he is going to make a switch into his T-Tar, and I'm just going to get some HP back. Oh no, I think I defog here. Yeah, I'm just going to defog here. And the problem is that this range Pidgeot, a modest Pidgeot, I believe can 2-hit KO me, so I'm going to try and get a Roost up here, trying to catch him on an over prediction because I do have the Tangrowth. And he is just going to click Stone Edge and miss. Very unfortunate. I don't know if it would have taken out my Mandibuzz. I don't remember my exact spread or know his or his item, but I'm pretty sure it definitely had a chance to take me out. But I have a full health Mandibuzz now, but Mandibuzz didn't really do much. It kind of just killed my momentum every time it came in, but it definitely was nice for Pidgeot, even though it didn't deal with the Pidgeot. But yeah, so he's just going to go for Stone Edge. So I'm not actually, what I'm trying to say is I'm not actually sure how much work Mandibuzz put in. As I go into my Tyrantrum here, like I said, this thing is probably my most useless mon. I'm going to fire off an Earthquake, do a ton of damage to his Sand Setter, as he's just going to take me out with an Ice Beam. Great prep on his part for Tyrantrum and Tangrowth. Got to show him a lot of love for that one. That was really good. But this just leads me to bring in my threat, Manaphy, as I'm just going to try and substitute up right here as he stays in and reveals the Thunder. So I'm going to be kind of a dick here, and I'm going to keep subbing up, hoping for a Thunder miss and or him to actually switch out, which he does. So I'm going to sub up again as he goes out into his Virizion, and here we hit a bit of a stalemate as I substitute. and he reveals that he is, first of all, faster, so he has the right speed investment, and he has the taunt, so I can't tail glow. I didn't, knowing that Reuniclus could stop my sweep at this point, so I just click Psychic, trying to kill this thing. I don't take it out is the big thing, and he has Synthesis. Now, I'm not sure overall. I think it actually worked out better for him that you'll see eventually, but I'm going to get this. I'm going to go for Psychic again, and he's going to keep trying to Synthesis up. And I think it works out better for him here, I believe, that I get a Spadef drop with Psychic, because at the same turn I get that Spadef drop with Psychic, Taunt wears off. So instead of encouraging him to potentially reapply Taunt knowing I could kill him, he is just going to make the correct play and take out my sub knowing that I kill him anyway, and he outspeeds me, which I think helped him more than he would help reapplying Taunt would have. So he knew he couldn't win the war at that point, and I think it's could have potentially helped him because I could have taken that thing out and still had a sub up. But he's going to go into his Hurricane Katrina, and like I said, I still have a full health Mandibuzz. However, I'm going to soon realize that my Mandibuzz is not necessarily something that can 1v1 this Pidgeot without the move Toxic on it, which is going to turn out to be a problem, as he's going to go for a Hurricane. I don't take much damage from him, but the fact that he can 3-hit KO me almost is a really big deal, because Roost Stalling is essentially just not helping, and he has the Toxic, so I'm not sure exactly how helpful Mandibuzz was for this thing in the first place. So he throws the Toxic on me, and he also has the Roost, as you'll see after I Brave Bird him, and so it's overall just not a good time for me with this Mandibuzz sitting in front of this Mega Pidgeot. It beats me 1v1. That was amazing prep on Paul's part. I want to give him a huge shout out there for knowing the counter I had to bring versus this thing and preparing for it and building a set that can beat my counter. That was really well done on his part. So there's going to ensue a bit of a stall war here, but as this turn I'm going to realize with Toxic, I can't switch out. I don't have a switch into this thing. I've just got to get damage off, as he's going to try and go for one more Hurricane and then get the Confusion. Luckily, I don't hit myself in Confusion at this point, and I'm going to get another 37% off, and he's going to try and Roost Stall me here, which kind of sucks. But unfortunately for myself, I am going to snap out of the Confusion and fire off Brave Bird. I get a crit, not sure how much it mattered, knowing what takes him out later. If basically it doesn't matter if this thing goes down or not. Everything on my team can kill it from either the health it was at with a crit or not. But I'm going to go out into my Bandit Arcanine, knowing I can take any one hit from this thing, as he's going to go out into his Tyranitar. He essentially had to sack something here. He decides it's his Tyranitar. He said after the game I think he should have sacked his Reuniclus instead, but I kind of disagree. I think this was his best play, because if Reuniclus comes in and that goes down, my Manaphy with the Salic Berry can definitely sweep, because it can set up subs on the T-Tar with a Thunder Miss and get down to its Salic Berry, Tail Glow up, and one-shot the rest of his team. So now he's going to decide to go into his Reuniclus, not his Excadrill, which isn't too bad for me because I am packing the Tangrowth with full health still. I'm going to fire for Flare Blitz to a shit ton as he reveals Thunder Wave, and this was a piece of this. I don't know how to put it. This was a hacks essentially that was really going to hinder my Arcanine right here. As you're going to see, I am going to get paralyzed, and that is so huge because he keeps his Reuniclus in good health. If I had broken through that paralysis and I make the series of plays I do afterwards, I would have won this game right here and then, because his Reuniclus is down at like 35% right now, and he knows my Manaphy has the substitute. He can't click T-Wave, so he would click Psychic here no matter what health he was at, and he knocks me as I Tail Glow right into Salic Berry range. And if this thing was at the health Arcanine could have put it at, this game would be GG. If I have Surf, this game would have been GG. But I am packing the Scald this battle, and it is just going to be just short of taking out this Reuniclus. So I'm thinking, alright, I didn't take out the Reuniclus, but Mienshao outspeeds the entirety of his team. He wasn't taking Sandstorm damage, so he's Magic Guard. I can one-shot the rest of his team with Mienshao at the range they're at. So here I'm going to try and prevent any kind of high jump kick miss. I'm going to safe U-turn, sack my Tangrowth here, as he's going to make the nice play into his Mega Pidgeot. And I'm just going to obviously stack my Tangrowth as he does that. I know I'm a little bit ahead, but it basically, at this point, I've just committed. It's coming down to me. And so I'm an offensive Tangrowth, so he can't roost up on me without me doing a lot of damage as I click Giga Drain. He clicks Hurricane. I go down. This thing is in high jump kick range 100%. Excadrill dies to a high jump kick from a Mienshao. I know I outspeed both of them. The sand is not up. I go for high jump kick. I hit the first one. Excadrill has to come in, and I was just thinking at this point, I have to hit a second high jump kick to win this game. I have to hit a second high jump kick to win this game. And you're going to see right here, I'm going to go for the high jump kick, hit, but he's sashed. So he was running a sash drill. I didn't ask why, because at this point my heart just sank. It just sank. He's sashed. He's going to live this hit. He's going to Oko me back. That's going to be a good game. But as you will see, the 224 in HP we have pulls off. As it turns out, that was just enough HP to ensure no guaranteed Oko from his drill, as I hit a third high jump kick and Mianxiao on 9% takes Paul down. That is so big. Such a great game. Oh my gosh. We talked about it afterwards. We ran the calcs. I think we both played really well. There was hacks on both sides that kind of hurt us. The T-Tar Stone Edge miss and my Arcanine Flare Blitz para. Both of those really hurt us, as I would have just won the game at that point, and he would have gotten rid of my Mega Pidgeot switching at that point. So there were some hacks on both sides. That could, but yeah, high jump kick, Mianxiao really pulled through, and we have one more game to go to. So let's hop over to that one versus the Verd. Later. Hey, yo, what's up, boys? You got your boy JB back again, and this time we're taking on the Verd. And as you can see, he has a terrifying team. I don't know how he got all these threats, but he got them. We're rocking the... I don't know why, but every time I start a battle, I'm on the wrong side of the battle. I'm pretty sure it's because Verd saved this replay. But yeah, so we are rock... Well, no, I did. That's weird. Anyway. We are rocking with the... Tail Glow 3 attack Manaphy to deal with his Lantern potentially switching in. We have the defensive Arcanine, which can beat the Infernape and the Beedrill with a Rocky Helmet. We also are packing the Spadef Mandibuzz for his Superior and his Latios. We have Tangrowth, which Assault Vest, again offensive with 4 attacks. Knockoff, HP Ice, Earthquake, and Poison Jab for the Superior. We're also packing another Scarf Mianxiao. I know it's Scarf again, but it just matched up really well again this game because it outspeeds the entirety of his team. And we're packing a very special Tyrantrum set that we will get to later in the battle, which I kind of want to save for then. So I predict him to lead off with Gliscor to get his rocks up, and I'm going to lead out with my Manaphy. Now, at this point, I realized that I had brought the wrong Manaphy. I originally wanted a substitute Tail Glow 2 attack of Ice Beam and what was the other move? Ice Beam and Energy Ball. Now, Infernape walls me, but it doesn't appreciate taking +3 of either of those, and I have the Arcanine to switch into the Infernape, so I wasn't too worried about that. However, I realized at this point I was a Tail Glow 3 attacks Manaphy, and so I had to play a little safer with this thing because it completely changes the strategy. Normally, I could sub up on this thing expecting him to switch out into the Lantern and or his Superior here. But instead, since I don't have the substitute, I'm just going to try and play safe, catch him on an over prediction turn 1, go for the Ice Beam, but he makes a smart play into his Lantern, and it still takes a pretty decent amount from this Ice Beam, which leads me to believe it's definitely not a max Spadef set. A max Spadef set would have taken like 8% from that, maybe. So I don't think he's a max Spadef set, which we'll figure out later. But I'm going to go into my Tangrowth as he goes for a Volt Switch. I know I can take that, and he's going to have a lot of momentum early game. He has the Beedrill, Lantern, Infernape, Gliscor, all can get U-turn or Volt Switch, and that's why I brought the Rocky Helmet Arcanine, because every U-turn this Beedrill goes for, it's going to do the same to it as it will my Arcanine, and so that's huge for me. Knowing that this thing is going to be getting whittled down with my Arcanine is absolutely huge. If he goes for a Poison Jab ever, there's no way he's doing more than 30%, and I can Morning Sun up on him. So he is going to keep up his momentum here and go out into a threat that I have literally 0 switch-ins to, a Latios, J-Specs. Excuse me. I'm going to make a switch into my Mandibuzz, hoping he doesn't go for Ice Beam. I'm assuming he'll have Ice Beam over Thunderbolt, but he's just going to go for a Draco Meteor. And I calc this with my Spadef Mandibuzz spread. I realized that this is a Specs Latios. Probably Timid as well, because Modest Specs had a little bit more of a role to it. So I'm just going to be here, and I know I need to keep this thing healthy as he goes into his Lantern. But I predict the Lantern to come in, and well, no, that's next turn. So I just roosed up. I know I need to keep this thing healthy for Specs Latios, and I'm just going to fire for Foul Play here, protecting him to Volt Switch, because I just have to stop his momentum at this point. He has too much momentum. He essentially is having his offensive mons inverse my defensive mons, so it's going to be, can my defense outlast all of his offense as he goes into Will? And I know I can switch into my Arcanine on this thing. He cannot 2-hit KO me, and I'm going to pull the switch into my Arcanine as he fires off a Close Combat, which is the hardest thing he can hit me with this monster. And he is going to do a lot. 44%. That is well above. That is well above Life Orb, Adamant. Even that is a banded Jolly Infernape to deal with to break through my Arcanine. As I have to make a double, I can't lose Arcanine. I don't have E-Speed. He told me he switched out expecting E-Speed -1. He didn't want, and Rocky Helmet. He didn't want to take all that. But I go into my Tangrowth here, and because it's probably my most non-useful mon in this game, even though he doesn't really have a switch into it, he's going to U-turn here as I fire off an HP Ice, expecting him to try and get rocks up, and he's going to get in his Mega Beedrill basically for free, which is kind of an issue for my team, and he knows that. He's making plays to make sure this Beedrill is always in on me, and he knows he knows he can keep gaining his momentum back because my only switch into this thing is Arcanine, which I'm going to make again. At this point, he's going to U-turn, take another set of Rocky Helmet damage. I'm at 26%. He's below half. My Arcanine has been wearing his team down literally by just being what it is, a Rocky Helmet dog in front of his physically offensive mons. As he makes a switch into his Superior, a huge threat for my team as well. This thing can run train through me if it gets too many Leaf Storms up, so I have to make a switch into my Spadef Mandibuzz here. He fires off a Leaf Storm. It does literally nothing. I expected him to potentially be a sub-Leech Seed variant and or a Leaf Storm Life Orb with a Hidden Power Rock potentially to hit me harder, as he is going to go for that Hidden Power Rock, I assume. And he takes damage, but I am packing the Brave Bird on this thing because I know I needed to do damage to the Superior at any point I got the chance to. I'm going to take him down with me essentially here because he's going to fire off a Giga Drain as he is at 11%, but with Life Orb, he's going to get knocked right back down to 8%. I can go into my Mienshao, click U-turn, down Superior. And we're 5-5. Me and Vert are kind of exchanging blows at this point. It's been a very good battle, but I'm going to U-turn out into my... Basically, my point of U-turning here was to not lure in anything I didn't want to have a switch into. So I'm going to go into my Tangrowth to try and prevent the Latios from coming out, knowing I can take a hit from that. But he goes out into his Beedrill. Here I know I need to kill the Beedrill. This thing can potentially outspeed and two-shot the rest of my team. He gets a poison here, which really sucks because I lose Death Fodder, but I do knock him out with the knockoff. The problem is I lose Death Fodder with that poison, and the Latios is still around, so that was really unfortunate that he got that poison. But, you know, you live and learn. It's the game we play. You gotta be gracious when that kind of stuff happens to you, and it's not that big a deal. We're still 4-4. We're trading blows at this point. He goes out into Will. I go out into my Mienshao. I know I can take this thing out with a high jump kick. I try to catch him on not thinking I'm scarfed here. Go for a... Oop. 1 sec, I'm gonna pause it. Sorry about that. I try and catch him not thinking I'm scarfed as I miss a high jump kick, which isn't actually that big this game. It's unfortunate, yes, because the damage on Gliscor is nice, but it's the game we play. Gotta accept it when it happens. I'm gonna switch out into my Manaphy, expecting him to try and get rocks up to kill my Arcanine as he goes for an Earthquake, and that's not really a big deal. I'm gonna Tail Glow up here, expecting his Lantern to want to come in. Alright, sorry about that. Hopefully it's the last time we have to pause. So I'm going to go to my Manaphy, I'm going to Tail Glow up. He pulls a switch into his Lantern. I know I can take this thing out at this range with the Energy Ball, no problem. So I'm just going to go for that, and I know the only thing he can bring in to revenge me is the Latios to Specs T-Bolt me, but he reveals to be a Rindo Berry to take my Manaphy's +3 Energy Ball, no problem, and he's going to get big damage on the Volt Switch right here, which is unfortunate. Now, so that thing, it's basically dead. My Manaphy's basically dead, but Manaphy could still have some use. It could be potentially my last thing I could have to beat the Gliscor at this point since Tangrowth is down. So I'm going to preserve it, trying to maybe save it for a Gliscor switch, and I know it can take an EQ from the range it's at, and I'm going to sack my Arcanine here. As that happens, he goes for the Thunderbolt, makes a nice play. As here, I'm going to go into my Mienshao, trying and hoping to get him to switch out into the Gliscor here, because I know I need damage on that thing. I'm going to click the HP Ice. I have it. I know I'm a physical attacker, but I can still do a lot. Oh, wait. Do I just U-turn here? Oh, I just U-turn here. So, yeah. I'm going to get the U-turn off. He's going to go into Jack. He goes down, sacks that 3-3. We're trading blows very much right now. I'm going to go back into my Tyrantrum here, attempting to try and lure in Gliscor, fearing Scarf, as I do. But I realize that I kind of want to not do this right now. I think I need a little bit more damage. So I'm going to go, I know I need damage on the Gliscor before I try and do my plan. So I'm going to go into my Mienshao. I know I can take the Earthquake. Here I'm going to sack my Mienshao in an attempt to get an HP Ice off. And that's the damage I needed as he U-turns, which is huge, because my Mienshao is still alive. I have Death Fodder. I can get Regenerator back. He goes out into his will. I'm just going to pull the safe switch, sack my Manaphy at this point, and I think it's about time that the Tyrantrum plan was put into motion. So he goes for a close combat here, as I know the only way I can win this at this point is the Tyrantrum, and I've been playing for that game. I've been playing for the only way I win this is Tyrantrum. I'm going to go into my Mienshao. I'm going to force him to switch out because he knows he needs this thing for my Tyrantrum. He needs that priority in case I'm a Dragon Dance setup. And I'm going to go for my U-turn, and I get the Tyrantrum in on a damaged Gliscor just how I wanted it. And this is where it gets interesting. So we have our Tyrantrum. We set up the plan. We've set it up how I wanted it. I wanted Tyrantrum versus some variant of Beedrill Superior. Lantern's dead, Gliscor is low, Tyrantrum is in versus the Gliscor. That's what I've been playing for this whole game. That's what all of my sacking and all of my damage getting on the Mons has been for. Tyrantrum. Alright, now my set is a Rock Polish variant in case he was a Scarfinfernape. I have enough speed on that to outspeed that at +2. I have the Ice Fang, the Outrage, the Earthquake, and the Stone Edge. Now, here, he has 2 plays. He won't Protect if he has that. He won't U-turn. Those 2 plays don't make any sense. He can't risk this thing setting up. So, his 2 plays are Roost or Earthquake. If he Earthquakes here, I win the game. Because I Rock Polish up, block myself into Outrage, 3-shot the rest of his team, because I am a Chople Tyrantrum, and even Banded Mach Punch after 1 EQ from Gliscor does not take me out, no matter what, disregarding crits. So if he Earthquakes right here, I win. If he goes for the Roost, I still can potentially win, because the same scenario happens. I 2-shot the Gliscor with Ice Fang, he gets 1 EQ off, still not in Infernape Mach Punch range, I lock myself in Outrage, knock out his last 2 Mons. So, let's play it, see how it happens. He gets his Poison Heal. I'm going to go for my Rock Polish as he picks the Roost play. But my Tyrantrum now outspeeds his entire team, no matter what, which is amazing. I'm going to go for an Ice Fang on the Gliscor, and I know if I can knock this thing out, and he gets an EQ off as I click Ice Fang, and I miss. And that's game. Because he's going to EQ here. He's going to do good damage. I can't one-shot the Gliscor with Ice Fang. I would need it to be at +2, I believe, to do that. Or +1 would have done it. But +1 would have one-shot him. But I'm Rock Polish because I feared Scarfinfernape. He EQs, Tyrantrum goes down. We calced it afterwards. Mach Punch didn't kill me. But, you know, it's the game we play, boys. Verd needed this win more than I. He's a good friend of mine. I'm not mad that happened. It happens. And like I said, he needed the win more than I. It comes down to him versus Paul to see who advances with me. Sorry for the background noise if you hear that. I'm going to pause real quick. Alright, sorry about that. Some of my family got home, but the sad truth is that we calced it afterwards. His Mach Punch could not kill me. His EQ put me at 33%. Banded Mach Punch from Infernape does max of 28%. So I could have EQ'd into Outrage, swept the team. But it happens, you know. That's the game we play. It's the game we choose to play. I said this before, I'll say it again. Verd and Paul are going to have a great battle. They'll decide who advances with me. And, you know, it just happens. You got to learn from your mistakes. It went Verd's way. Congratulations, Verd. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. You're a good guy, great friend. I look forward to playing you again in the NBA and numerous times in the future. But, you know, it just happens. It's the game we play. I'm going to let the battle finish out here. He goes for EQ. Can't one-shot me. I'm going to kill him here with the high jump kick. And he's just going to go into his Infernape and clean up the game from there. But either way, boys, you know, I was a little sad afterwards, but because the Rock Polish sweep did not happen. But you gotta learn from your mistakes. You gotta learn how you can set games up differently, so you don't have to count on that kind of thing. And here he's gonna Mach Punch. Mienshao goes down. I tell him it's a good game. It is. We went 2-1 in the GPC World Championships preliminary rounds. We're guaranteed into elimination rounds, and I will have a video on those in the future. But this has been what a lot of my time has been devoted to. I know I haven't uploaded a lot lately, and it's because we spent 3 days on the draft, and I had to prep for 3 players. We had to get our matches done by a certain point. We all wanted to get them done early, and we all got them done within a week of battles being started, which I'm really happy. Well, I got all mine done. Verd and Paul still have to play. I believe they're playing 2 days from now, so hopefully that will be a good battle. But But yeah, I will try and get all of their links in the description below. Have a great day, everyone. And this is JB signing off. I will see you guys later.